Back in 1979, I put a canoe in at Pandale, Texas, and floated the last 66 miles of the Pecos River. Floated clear to Mexico, got into the most inundating rainstorms that I've ever been in. Took shelter in a cave, and that cave was loaded with painting. I didn't realize at the time how ancient they were, but it changed my life forever.
Here in the Lower Pecos Canyonlands, there are over 300 murals just on the Texas side of the border. They are unique across the globe.
The rock art we know is at least 4,000 years old. That really drew me to it. And when I looked up at the first panel and I just saw how much information was there, I fell in love with that.
Shumla is an archaeological research and education nonprofit. Our mission is to preserve the oldest known books in North America, which is what we consider the Pecos River style rock art out here. We're all about learning, researching the rock art here, giving the rock art its due justice, and trying to tell everyone in the world about it and how incredible it is.
Never did we think that we were going to know what these panels meant. When I first came out here, I was told that they were a random collection of images painted over hundreds or thousands of years by different people, that we would never know what it meant. And as an artist, what I saw was an actual composition. Now, after at least 25 years of study and documentation of 20+ sites, we now know that these are not random. Everything carries meaning. They are pictorial narratives, ancient texts. This is a 150-foot long book filled with information about the lifeways of the people that lived here and their belief systems. These are the oldest known books in North America, and we are losing them.
We have information that no one ever thought we would have access to. And not only do we have one mural or two murals, we have 300 that hold this information that we can now read. We've been given the oldest known books in North America, and we're watching basically as water just washes them away one by one, and we feel a huge responsibility to preserve them and to make sure that that information is available to people all over the world forever. The murals are incredibly endangered. It's terrifying to see them deteriorate so rapidly.
The Rio Grande was impounded by what is called Amistad Lake, and it raised the level of the water, inundated ancient caves rich in pictorial art. Whereas water was scarce in the area, now there's an abundance.
Every time there's a storm, that water's rising, and eventually it's going to be high enough that it will cover it, and the flood will just take it away.
We could lose a mural in one flood episode, in one event. Paintings that have been there for thousands of years, lost. We have to document these because we will lose them. It's not if we lose them, the question is when.
We use a lot of incredible technologies in our documentation process and our research. For example, the Dynalite microscope that allows us to study the stratigraphy and the sequence in which the paint was laid down. My team, they're able to take images in such a way that the software then can stitch it together and create a 3D model.
The documentation that we're doing right now is saving a lot of this stuff for future generations. Let's say that we go in there and we document a site with 3D modeling at the resolution we're doing. If that site was lost tomorrow, we have enough data now that if we had a big enough 3D printer, we could recreate that site and put it back in place. It's important to save this rock art because it's part of our past. And if we don't save that and we don't learn from it, then we lose a part of ourselves.
They had extremely complex understandings of the universe and of the sky and of the seasons and the stars, and they don't preserve in the archaeological record because a stone tool isn't going to tell us about that. But the art tells us about that. And this is a chapter in the prehistory of our continent that we need to preserve, and we need to read, and we need to share. Shumla is one of the few archaeological centers in the United States that is not a government agency or a university department. We rely entirely on the support of our donors to do the work that we do. Please join us, give to Shumla at shumla.org/donate.